Greetings, gardeners. Well, it's been an absolutely beautiful morning here in Hawaii until just a moment ago when I turned the camera on. The sun went behind a cloud, but it has been warm and sunny and blue. And looking at the weather forecast in the mainland, I have to consider myself lucky to live in Hawaii. Yeah, y'all gonna be shoveling snow in Minnesota this morning. I can see that. Yeah, it's just a beautiful place to be in the U.S. because instead of shoveling snow this morning and scraping my windshield or worrying about thunderstorms and all, I'm out here wandering around the garden to see what's going on. So I frequently have folks ask me, "Hey Bill, you do stuff out there in the garden. Can you show us what happens?" Well, right here, this was the mass planting of cabbage, Chinese cabbage, and kale. It's really doing well. Despite the fact that we have nice loose soil here, it really does seem to benefit adding compost, because in this case here I spread several inches of compost over the top of this before I planted, and the plants are loving it. This Chinese cabbage variety here was from Johnny's Selected Seeds. It's a hybrid called Rubicon. I do not always do well with Chinese cabbage, and in general, in the past, using hybrids seems to work much better for me than the open pollinated ones. The open pollinated ones, I end up with just bolts. These are starting to head up, so it looks like we're going to be making some kimchi. Next to them right over here, I've got a brand new kale that I haven't grown previously. That guy's called Black Magic. It appears to be similar to Toscano. Oh, look, look. Wow, it's a cabbage moth caterpillar that hasn't been parasitized yet. Well, I'll be darned, look at that. Here's what happens. Uh-oh. Oh, he took a dump. Any more on here, huh? No. I don't see any more. Yeah, I did have somebody ask me about, how do you grow cabbage over there without getting everything eaten up? Well, that right there is exactly how I do it. When the worms show up, we deal with them. But compared to the cabbage worms back in Wisconsin, we barely have any here. The moth doesn't do that well in this area, apparently. Right there, that's the Copenhagen Market. Just plain old open pollinated Copenhagen Market cabbage, and it's doing really, really well. You'll see down between it here, there's little marigold seedlings popping up everywhere. And that was done by shaking the seeds off of this summer's marigolds over the top of the bed. Now, I did add a few new ones here. It came out of the nursery, you can see them. But all the little guys between the cabbages, they're coming up on their own, solo vino, and they look good, look real good. Well, they're here to help us drive the nematodes out. I'm starting to get flowers on the green beans. They're looking pretty good. Not bad. Right over here are the fava beans. They are also looking quite good. And the perennial peanut ground cover over here is spreading back after the mowing. It's coming up pretty clean too. There's a few weeds in there, a little bit of sedge and stuff, but not too much. And all that brown junk over the top, that's marigold. It's the dead plants that I pulled out of the other bed here. And then I just tossed them over the top and let the seeds fall off, in between the perennial peanuts. Of course, there is always the unstoppable Godzilla squash. Oh, and the sweet corn's looking sweet. Very, 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 very nice. We lost a couple when the birds got in here and pulled them out, but in general, most of it is still here and doing well. Oh, yeah, see here, look. This is what the son of a guns do. I swear, birds drive me out of my mind. Right there, see that? That's what they do. It's trying to get the corn seed out of the ground. They pull and pull and pull, and then they cut the darn stalk off. Now that one's not a loss, considering that the stalk is still there. I see it unwhirling. But other than a few damaged stalks, the sweet corn is looking really sweet. One fine looking crop of cabbage here, too. And we got a little bit of broccoli over there. We were getting some pretty bad chewing from cabbage worms in this area. Now, this was put in earlier, so I guess there were more moths around. I went through recently and I gave the broccoli a little bit more chicken manure because it didn't look like it was thriving. And then I sprayed the entire works with some spinosad bacteria to get rid of those cabbage worms. Right over there is the mustard cover crop that I sowed. Doing very well. We've weeded around the Cocobolo rosewood and it's being real happy now. It didn't do well for a long time out there in the grass. It did not like the grass in this field. Over here, you can see the new weed block is finally settling down a little bit. I'm going to have to take the flamer along the green edge over there and start to relax that grass so we can put the next roll down. Ellen's newly planted pineapples over here are doing very well. And of course last year's back there are thriving. And then of course the row is continuing down there where we're adding more. Eventually we'll go all the way down across the field. The unusual hibiscus collection is thriving over here. This one here is kind of neat. That's a red double. And this one's very pretty too. Soft pink, yellow, and orange. Pineapples out back are thriving. New and old. Right over here, I've started moving the whole banana planting to the rear. The neighbor's weed guavas over there and our coffee here box this area in so it's not as windy and so my bananas don't break over. And I've been putting in Williams and Sucre back here. The weird pineapple farm is coming along over here. I see we got one of the canning varieties almost ripe right there. They're long and skinny. That's a Hana right there. This thing over here is a Valdez. And we got others coming to flower right there. That's quite a colorful pineapple flower too. Oh, and then right over here are all those Florida landrace that I planted. One of these days, I'll let some of these go. One of these days. There's the walk around. So whether you're shoveling snow in Minnesota this morning or you're picking ulu here in Hawaii, I want you all to have an absolutely wonderful day. And be careful on New Year's. Aloha. Hang loose.